नमस्कार आपण समस्त को यही वीडियो बहुत बहुत स्वागत। आज वीडियो में आपण सहित +3 फर्स्ट इयर सेकेंड सेमिस्टर पॉलिटिकल साइंस ऑनर्स यूनिट 4 मेजर डिबेट्स किसी 3 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन आपन शेयर करी। मुझे पूर्व मत यूनिट 1 to 3 ऑलरेडी 3 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन 1 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन 2 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन ऑलरेडी वीडियो बन सारी। जदि आपण देखी ना चैनल को देखिपारे तो वीडियो आगे मुझे कहबी आप पीटीपी को किपर भाव पाइपर। राइट शॉर्ट नोट ऑन हिस्टरी ऑफ पॉलिटिकल ओबलाइजेशन माने पॉलिटिकल ओबलाइजेशन रो हिस्ट्री कौन रही द अर्लीस्ट अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ पॉलिटिकल ओबलाइजेशन बाध्यता कैन बी ट्रेस्ड बैक टू द टीचिंग ऑफ सोक्रेट्स ऑन अकाउंट रिकॉर्ड्स इज इम्प्रूवमेंट माने कारबास इन डेथ सेंटेंस फॉर corrupting the morals of the youth. Instead of escaping, he chose to say and accept his punishment as he found it morally wrong to evade his punishment. In Tito, Socrates described that the struggle man has with the rule of law in connection with the political obligation. One claim जन दावा कर that the obligation from of an individual to society is divinely ordained. Christianity has been catalytic in this thinking. This requires acceptance of the extent of the divine and the linkage between the divine and the political realms and are clear. Hobbes accepted the idea of political obligation, stating the government and laws were needed to their three of the society. तो ये कौन पॉलिटिकल ओबलाइजेशन राजनीतिक बाध्यतार हिस्ट्री थिला। नेक्स्ट देखिबा राइट ए शॉर्ट नोट ऑन ओबलाइजेशन माने कौन ना एन ओबलाइजेशन कैन बी डिफाइंड एज समथिंग दैट मस्ट और बिकॉज ऑफ ए लॉ लाइन थिबो नेसेसिटी और बिकॉज इट देयर ड्यूटी में कार्य थिबो कर्तव्य थिबो। देयर आर वेरियस फॉर्म्स ऑफ ओबलाइजेशन में वेरियस फॉर्म अछि सच एज कौन लीगल ओबलाइजेशन अछि मोरल ओबलाइजेशन अछि इटीसी। फॉर example, respecting adults or else looking after our parents when they are old is not legal obligation. There are no laws that force you to do them. However, they are our moral obligation. Just as rights obligation play a vital role in the society. If individuals are more focused on the operating their rights but are indifferent to their obligation, influence negative events. Hence, people should realize that just as they enjoy their rights, they have to fulfill their obligation towards others. Next, write short note on the basic of political obligation. Some criticize citizens obey the law only because have whom self-respect and might of the same, which they are aware of the force to realize that cannot challenge successfully. देखिए कौन political obligation हम देखुछन people will readily obey laws if they are found to the rational and useful. Law is only means to an end and not an end itself. People will gladly obey मानिबा if they prove themselves as useful instrument of human welfare. जन मानिबे से माने गोटे मनुष्य तो जन्म होता है से गोटे यूजफुल इंस्ट्रूमेंट माने गोटे जंत्र भावे जो मानवे से से कौन हम ना जो आम रही पॉलिटिकल दायित्व बाध्यता से कौन कार्य कर। राइट शॉर्ट नोट ऑन डिवाइन राइट ऑफ थ्योरी. डिवाइन राइट थ्योरी मीन्स इट एडवोकेट्स यह कहूँ दैट द स्टेट वाज क्रिएटेड बाय गॉड एंड गवर्नमेंट इज डिप्यूटी. या कौन स्टेट को भगवान कर गवर्नमेंट डिप्यूटी हिसाब से रही. ही सेंट हिज डेप्यूटी टू रूल ओवर देम. और से डेप्यूटी को रूल करने समस्त पठाई. द रूलर वाज डिवाइनली अपॉइंटेड बाय द गॉड एंड ही वाज ए एजेंट ऑफ गॉड से रूलर रूल कर अपॉइंटमेंट को भगवान अपॉइंट कर कौन कर से भगवान रूल एजेंट दूत कह. ही वाज रेस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर हिज एक्शन ऑफ गॉड एलोन. और द रूलर ऑफ वाज डिप्यूटी of the god. Obedience to him was held to be religious duty of restraint or sin. Nobody could limit his will, restrict his power. कि मतलब जो पावर जो है ताकि बंधन की था पाइबनी. His word was law and his actions were always just and benevolent. To complain against the authority of the ruler of criticize his actions also unjust was sins for which divine punishment. Next, write short note on constant theory. Constant theory means the divine theory was replaced by the constant theory. Divine theory को constant theory बदले कौन replace करा गला. It says the authority of the state is based on the consent of the people. एला कौन ना authority बोलते ना जोला कि लोक मानकर consent के ऊपर से base है मान आधारित. Sanction is political obligation is the will of the people. People have made a contract with a person or body of a person under which that person or body receives authority in return from the protection and service declaring and enforcing a system of legal rules. Thomas Hobbes, John Locke and J.J. Rousseau are chief exponents of this theory. Right, short note on the membership association theory. Association theory means association theory. According to proponents of a theory, the proponents of a theory, political obligation is best understood as an associative obligation grounded in membership. If we are a member of a group, they argue, and then we were under a obligation. And if we are a member of a group, and they argue, and they were under an obligation, ceteris paribus, to comply with the norms that to govern it. Nor does the obligation follow from constating to become members. For it holders, even in this case, groups of association such as families and politics that people typically do not consent to join. Voluntary or not, membership entails obligation. Anyone who acknowledges membership in a particular policy must therefore acknowledge that he or she has general obligation to obey its law. Next, देखिए what is the historical origin of human rights. Historical origin of human rights means records any indicated that though modern history can trace Magna Carta of 1521 was the historical beginning of human rights. जो human rights first start हुआ, but its real origin goes back 539 BC. किंतु first origin उत्पत्ति 549 BC होता when Prius the great conquered the city of Babylon. Babylon से great king थे. He freed all slaves to return home. से समस्त जो चाकर तांको सब घर पठेइले and declared people to choose their own religion और सेवन निज हिसाब से निज धर्म बाछि पारे and even maintain racial equality. The idea of human rights quickly spread from Babylon. जो idea of human rights से Babylon से spread कला. Many nations, especially India, बहुत गुड़ा देश स्पेशली स्वतंत्र भाव इंडिया, Greece and eventually Rome with the concept of natural law across the in observation of in the fact people tended to follow the certain written laws in the due to course of the life. Right? Certain fair play. Fair play means John's Ross in the influential essay of his own refers to duty derived from the principle or the duty of fair play. What the principle of fair play holds then is that everyone who participates in the reasonable, just, moderately beneficial cooperative practice has joining enterprises according to rules, has been obligation to bear a fair share of the bonds of the practice. This obligation is reward to the others who corrupted in the enterprises, for cooperation is what makes it and possible for any individual to enjoy the benefits of a practice. This principle fair play applies to the political society only if its members can reasonably regard as a cooperative enterprises. If they can, the members have the obligation of a fair play to do her part in maintaining in the enterprises, because the rule of law is necessary to the maintenance of such a polity and perhaps even constitutive of it. The principle from a corporation is abiding by the law. Next देखिए, right is short on gratitude. Gratitude means कौन कृतज्ञता हम बुझी पारिबा. Appeals to the gratitude in debates about political obligation are as old as Plato we have seen, and they remain popular today. They are rarely, though, the sole of even primary basis for the attempt to justify the obligation to obey the law. Plato's account of Socrates' reasoning is typically in this regard, with gratitude being but one of the at least four considerations. Socrates relates one the explaining way why he will not disobey the ruling of the jury that sentenced him to death. According to Walcott, the person who benefits from X has an obligation of gratitude not to an act contrary to X's interest. Right? Short note on natural duty. Natural duty means natural duty. The final contenders in the political organization debates are natural duty accounts. In this context, natural duties are understood to be ones people have simply in virtue of their status as the moral agents. They need to do nothing to acquire them, nor does their breaking such duties depend on their occupying some role in a society's silent relationship. Natural duties are also universal in scope. They are owed to all members of class defined in terms of possession of some features such as a sentence or rationality. John Rawls first brought such as an agreement for political organization when an asset in the theory of justice that everyone is subject to a natural duty of justice required to support and comply with the just institution and exist and apply to us. Next time देखिए Right about short note on the emergence of multiculturalism. Multiculturalism means 3 centuries later, in the late 20th century, multiculturalism emerged as a political idea to overcome the inequalities of the traditional conception of the tolerance. Multiculturalism attempts to respond popularly to religious and cultural diversities. The traditional conception of tolerance as a non-interference was found incapable in addressing the marginal and the subordinate portion of minorities and marginalized the groups who were demanding public affirmation of their differences and equal space in the public space along with the majority in the society. Right? Short note on culturalism. Culturalism is the idea that a person's beliefs, values and practices should be understood based on the person's own culture. निज culture से base करछि relativism rather than the judge against the criteria of another. It was established and axiomatic in anthropological research by Franz Boas in the first few decades of 20th century and later popularized by the students. However, Boas did not coin the term. The first use of the term recorded in the Oxford English Dictionary was by philosopher and social theorist Alan Locke 1924 to describe Robert Louis' extreme culturalism. Found in this later 1917 book, the 1917 book दिखाई Culture and Anthropology. This term became common among anthropologists after Boas' death in 1942 to express the scientific of a number of ideas Boas had developed. Boas believed that the sweep of cultures to be found in a connected with the sub-species is so vast and previous that there cannot be relationships between the culture, race and race. Culturalism involves the specific epistemological and methodological claims. Whether or not these claims necessitate a specific intellectual sentence is a matter of debate. This principle should not be confused with a moral relativism. Right? Short note on Parek's central insights of multiculturalism. To Parek's central insights of multiculturalism are there. Human beings are culturally imbalanced. They grow up and live in culturally structured world and organize their life and social relations with a culturally derived system of meaning and significance. Two, secondly, different cultures represent different system of meaning and good life. Each culture enhances itself by looking at the other cultures and by learning from them. No culture is inferior or wholly worthless. Thirdly, each culture is internally plural and reflects a continued conversation between the different traditions and stands for a thought. A culture cannot be appreciated the violation of the other unless it appreciates the plurality within itself. Right, short note on recognize and following cultural diversity. The multicultural discourse puts greater emphasis on cultural diversity. It has been pointed out that the culture has not been given its due place liberal political theory. In fact, the multiculturalism has become a kind of master narrative widely invoked as by scholars, journalists, and policy makers alike to explain the evolution of contemporary debates about diversity. One of the arguments of multiculturalism is that cultural diversity offers benefit to wider society, not just a member of any cultural minority. Cultural diversity is the fun of ethnic food, festival, music, dance, etc. Creators a richer, moral, cosmopolitan, and aesthetically pleasing society for all. Cultural diversity is not only a source of entertainment or pleasure that enhances our overall equality of life, but it also fundamentally governs our view about how life should be we live. Next देखिबा what is tolerance सही माने कोन सहीबा in its moral general stance साधारण सेंस अर्थ रे tolerance is the willful putting of the beliefs and practice of other by a person or a group that disapproves of them and who would otherwise be inclined to prohibit or to suppress them if they had the power to do so. Tolerance as such is a deliberate exercise on self-restraint. Even if he finds a behavior objectionable, one resists interfering with it correctively. Hence, it is an attitude and practice of restraint, typically distinguished from approval, indifference, and mere exclusions. तो एक्सक्लूजन ऑब्जे मिडिया तो डिस्प्यूट मैंने आग्रह होता है प्रोहिबिट मैंने संख्या समृद्ध करवा आ ऑब्जेक्टिव मैंने आरोपित कौन आपत्तिजनक ऑब्जेक्टिव मैंने आपत्तिजनक एंड डिसाइस्ट इंटरफेरिंग डिसाइस्ट मैंने बाध्यता मूलक इंटरफेरिंग बाध्यता तो करेक्टली मैंने बाध्य करना आ कौन एटीट्यूड प्रैक्टिस ऑफ रेस्ट्रेंस मैंने जो सब बंध था जो प्रतिबंधक टाइपिकली डिस्टिंग्विशमेंट मैंने प्रत्यक्षा फ्रॉम अप्रूवल इंडिफरेंसेस एंड मेड आक्वेशन मन सम्मति तो ये टॉलरेंस तो यूनिट 4 मध्य टीम स्थापन सरला जब आप पीडीएफ चाहती डिस्क्रिप्शन टेलीग्राम लिंक अच्छी से जॉइन हूँ आपण मानकर पीडीएफ मिल जाए थैंक यू टू ऑल फॉर वाचिंग दिस वीडियो।